Have you ever wondered what a community totally dedicated to faith and knowledge actually looks like in practice? Well, today, we're going to dive into one of history's most incredible examples, the people of As-Suffah. And we're going to understand them through this really powerful metaphor from the Quran, the parable of a good tree. It's an idea that's going to guide our entire journey.
So this verse right here, it really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. This beautiful image of a tree, with its deep roots, its strong branches, and all the fruit it produces. That's going to be our lens for understanding the community of As-Suffah and for seeing how they literally embodied this ideal.
All right, so here's the plan. First, we'll get to know who these people actually were. Then, we're going to dig deep into their firm roots of faith and knowledge. After that, we'll see how their branches reached for the heavens through action and sacrifice. We'll check out the fruit of their community. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at their incredible, lasting legacy.
Okay, first things first. Who exactly were the people of As-Suffah? The name itself, which translates to the people of the bench or the portico, gives us a pretty big clue.
So As-Suffah was a real physical place. It was this covered platform at the back of the Prophet's mosque in Medina. But it was so much more than just a building. It was a sanctuary. It was a home for some of the most vulnerable members of that early community. We're talking new migrants, the poor, basically anyone who had no family or place to go.
So now let's get to the foundation of this community, the very roots of our tree. What was their life really about? Were they just sitting around waiting for handouts? Absolutely not. Not even close. Their foundation was built on something much, much deeper.
One of its most famous residents, Abu Huraira, describes them as the guests of Islam. And that phrase is just so powerful, isn't it? It completely reframes their identity. It's not about what they lacked, homes or money, but about who was taking care of them, the entire community, led by the Prophet.
And you really have to get this next part. For many of them, this life wasn't just a necessity, it was a deliberate choice. They actively chose a simple life, free from worldly distractions, so they could have this unparalleled access to the Prophet, to soak up every teaching, every revelation, every single moment of guidance. And this quote from Abu Huraira just nails it. It shows you the result of that choice. He's basically saying that while other folks were busy with their farms or in the marketplace, he stayed by the Prophet's side. And that singular focus, it allowed him to become one of the most important narrators of the Prophet's teachings. These are the deep, firm roots of knowledge being planted.
Okay, so if the roots are that deep and strong, what about the rest of the tree? Let's move up to the branches and see how all that deep faith translated into a life of incredible action. And this really shatters a common misconception about them.
Yeah, it's really easy to get the wrong picture here, to imagine the people of Al-Saffah as just passive or idle. But the reality? Man, it couldn't be more different. They weren't just waiting around to be cared for. They were putting on a masterclass in living a balanced, purposeful life. Think about it. They were devout worshipers by night and active warriors by day. Their nights were all about devotion, turning the Suffah into this 24/7 institute of higher learning, a hub for deep Quranic study. But when the sun came up, they were all about active service to the community, which included its defense. And this service, it wasn't just some abstract idea. It was real. Those branches of action reached their highest point in the ultimate sacrifice. Many residents of As-Suffah participated in the major battles and gave their lives for the very faith they were dedicating themselves to studying.
So you've got strong roots and high branches. What happens next? You get fruit, right? So what was the fruit of the As-Suffah community? Well, it was this incredible system of care and mutual support that nourished everybody involved, body and soul.
And just to give you a sense of scale, we're not talking about a handful of people. Sources tell us there were around 70 people living in the Suffah at any given time. That's a real sub-community, and taking care of them, well, that took a truly organized, heartfelt system. And the Prophet himself laid out the blueprint for this care. He offered spiritual nourishment by personally sitting with them and teaching them. Any charity that came in went directly to them first. He even shared his personal gifts with them. And get this, in a stunning example of leadership, he would prioritize their needs over his own families. Just think about that for a sec. And this spirit wasn't just limited to the Prophet. He made sure it spread throughout the entire society. This teaching right here, it transforms charity from just a transaction into an act of real community, of kinship. It wasn't about dropping off leftovers. It was about bringing someone into your home, sharing your table. That is the true fruit of community.
So what's the big takeaway here? The people of As-Suffah, they're not just some historical footnote.
They left behind a powerful, enduring legacy, a model for what a truly purpose-driven community can achieve. And this is maybe the most important point of all. Their life was not about some extreme, detached asceticism. They weren't hiding from the world. No way. Their deep spirituality wasn't a retreat from the world. It was the engine, the fuel for their service in the world. They lived practical, productive lives that benefited everyone.
And just look at what they became. Their time in the Saffah was a training ground. It was a launch pad. They weren't defined by their temporary poverty, but by their permanent dedication. Many of them graduated to become governors, generals, and the most renowned teachers in the faith. Abu Huraira himself, as we mentioned, later became a governor. Their story just proves that a deep foundation of faith is the perfect launchpad for making a massive worldly contribution.
And that kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? The model of the good tree with those deep roots of knowledge and the high branches of service, it's timeless. So when we look at our own communities, our institutions, even our own lives, the question is still there. How can we cultivate that same amazing balance today?